What Sigma females don't understand about themselves. Modern Stoic. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. Sigma females are often admired from a distance, quiet, composed, and fiercely independent. They don't chase validation, and they certainly don't play by society's usual rules. These women walk alone, not out of bitterness, but because solitude fuels their strength. But here's what many Sigma females might not fully realize: their greatest asset. This independence they guard so tightly can also be the very thing that hides their deeper value. You see, in a world obsessed with noise and attention, Sigma females operate in silence. They're not easily swayed by trends, nor do they need the constant feedback loop that drives most social interactions. That's their power, but it's also their blind spot. What they sometimes fail to recognize is that their strength isn't just in being different, it's in understanding why. True growth begins when they stop merely standing apart and start standing for something deeper. That's where wisdom begins. That's where the modern Stoic finds meaning. So now, what is it that Sigma females often miss about themselves? It's not confidence, intelligence, or strength. It's the unseen influence they hold, the way their quiet presence challenges the world to slow down and think. That's not just rare, it's revolutionary. And that's exactly what we're about to explore. 1. Sigma females are more social than they think. Sigma females think they're lone wolves, but here's the truth. Wolves still run in packs when it matters. These women, wrapped in a mystique of solitude, love to claim their peace in silence. Sipping coffee alone in the morning light like some old Stoic warrior priestess. And yes, that solitude is their fuel. But don't be fooled. They're not as socially detached as they think. In fact, they're far more socially magnetic than they'll ever admit. Because the modern Stoic doesn't need to shout to command a room. She just is. You see, Sigma females don't avoid people because they're cold or arrogant. They're just highly selective, ruthlessly efficient in where their energy goes. They don't waste breath on pleasantries or throw away chatter. That's not weakness. That's strategy. That's the blessing of Stoicism in motion, the power to engage without becoming entangled. When they choose to speak, they speak with precision. When they smile, it's earned. When they listen, it's with the quiet intensity of someone who sees everything, misses nothing. And that's where the real social power hides. Not in the noise, but in the pause between the noise. Don't confuse restraint with lack of charisma. When a Sigma female enters a room, it's like a shift in pressure. People notice. Conversations shift. Eyes follow. Why? Because she brings with her something rare, undiluted presence. It's that grounded calm, that unfazed demeanor, that refusal to chase approval or play the social charade. She doesn't try to be magnetic. She just is. And therein lies the paradox. Her detachment makes her unforgettable. That's classic modern Stoic energy, and she doesn't even know she's wielding it. There's a lesson in this for any man who walks the path of the modern Stoic. Don't overplay your hand. Don't underestimate the quiet ones. Strength doesn't always need a stage, and power doesn't always need applause. Sigma females move with an old Stoic grace. They engage when it matters. They vanish when it doesn't. They've mastered the art of timing, of knowing when to step in and when to step back. That's not social awkwardness, it's wisdom. And it's something most people miss. The real kicker. They don't realize how much people crave their presence. Even when they're trying to blend in, they stand out. Not because they're trying to dominate the space, but because they own their space. And if they choose to engage, they tilt the energy in the room without trying. That's not social aloofness. It's silent dominance. It's the blessing of Stoicism cloaked in femininity, the kind that doesn't need a spotlight to shine. Sigma females are more social than they think because their very nature invites curiosity. People want to understand them, get close to them, unlock the quiet code behind the cool. That's not a flaw. It's a gift. A gift they often downplay, mislabel as mere introversion. But make no mistake, when they speak, people listen. When they show up, people notice. And when they leave, people remember. That's not antisocial. That's impactful. So don't let them fool themselves, and don't be fooled either. Sigma females aren't hiding, they're choosing. And when they choose to step into the social space, and even briefly, they shift it without trying. That's not just charisma, no, it's legacy. The modern Stoic man sees it, respects it, and maybe even learns from it. Because at the heart of it all, the Sigma female lives by a quiet code: speak less, mean more. Be less seen, but more felt. Don't play the game, define it. 2. Sigma females underestimate the impact they have on others. Sigma females walk into a room like a breeze through a forest, silent, unannounced, but everything shifts just the same. They don't wave flags or sound horns. They don't stomp their feet or demand applause. And that's exactly why people can't stop watching them. The paradox: they don't even notice the eyes. Here's what Sigma females don't understand about themselves: they have an impact far greater than they think. Because they're not chasing the spotlight. They assume the light never touches them. False. It's their refusal to chase that makes the light follow. That's one of the subtle Stoic lessons life teaches us. The less you crave approval, the more magnetic you become. And Sigma females embody that truth like it's stitched into their DNA. People are watching, always. Not in a creepy way, but in the way one watches a mountain hold its ground during a storm. It's the poise, the calm, the graceful way she says no without explanation. It's Stoicism in motion, unapologetic, unwavering, cool as marble. Sigma females live in a world full of noise and somehow manage to stay rooted, unshaken, and that stillness, that composure. That's the kind of quiet strength men respect and women admire. It's a living lesson in how to live a Stoic life. But here's the catch: they don't see it. They think just because they're not loud, they're not being heard. Wrong again. People take notice of the way Sigma females move through the world like they own it, but never brag about it. The way they demand respect without raising their voice. The way they look you in the eye, unafraid, uninterested in playing games. It's on the walk, the silence, the sigh. It's subtle, but it leaves a dent. That's the Stoic life in action. Don't perform, just be. Don't beg, just stand. Don't shout, just live. Sigma females aren't trying to be inspirational, but that's exactly why they are. Like the old Stoics, they lead by example, not lectures. They don't post about strength, they live it. They don't ask for admiration, but they get it. Quietly, reluctantly, powerfully. It's the way she refuses to settle, the way she protects her time like it's gold, the way she doesn't explain her boundaries, just enforces them. That's the influence, that's control. And the world takes note, even when no one's clapping. The Stoicism in how she prioritizes her peace over popularity, her values over convenience, that's what hits different. And yet, she shrugs it off. I'm just doing my thing. She says, but that thing has ripple effects. People start questioning their own people's pleasing habits. Start craving their own solitude. Start saying no with a little more backbone. That's not a coincidence. That's the impact. Sigma females don't need to act like leaders to be leaders. They don't need the mic to make a statement. Their silence speaks. Their restraint teaches. Their authenticity liberates others to be more real. And that, gentlemen, is one of the most powerful Stoic lessons out there. Don't confuse absence of noise with absence of power. Don't think just because someone isn't shouting, they aren't being heard. The old Stoics knew this. They didn't argue, they acted. They didn't flinch, they held the line. That's what Sigma females do. Not for praise, not for attention, but because they've mastered the art of walking tall without stepping on anyone. They are more than just observers of the world. They shape it by example. They don't need to change others. They change the room by walking in, and often without saying a word. That is the quiet, living, breathing power of the Stoic life. So if you see one, don't try to analyze her too hard. Just learn. Watch the way she moves, the way she holds herself, the way she doesn't compromise. That's not accidental. That's discipline. That's control. That's a modern lesson in old world strength. And that's exactly what Sigma females don't always understand about themselves. But everyone else does. If you found this message empowering, hit the like button, share it with someone who walks their own path, and subscribe for more content that speaks to your inner strength. Drop a comment below to remind yourself and others of this truth. I inspire others just by being myself. Let's fill the comment section with this affirmation and show the quiet power of authenticity. 3. Sigma females are actually great leaders. Sigma females are natural leaders, whether they see it or not. They don't shout commands or beg for attention. They don't need titles, ranks, or stage it. They lead because of who they are, calm, composed, and unshakably grounded in their values. They live Stoic principles, like Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Sigma females simply are the example. They lead by embodying self-discipline, quiet strength, and unwavering authenticity. They don't need recognition. They don't chase applause. Their leadership doesn't scream. It radiates. It flows from how they carry themselves in silence, how they stand firm under pressure, and how they never abandon their inner compass, no matter the chaos around them. But here's the problem. They often don't realize the immense impact they have. That's the blind spot. They underestimate their influence because they aren't obsessed with it. In a world hungry for noise, the Sigma female leads with presence. In a society addicted to validation, she thrives on principle. She doesn't compromise. She doesn't fold to fit in. She endures. That's Stoic power in its purest form. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Sigma females are the way forward in a world gone loud and shallow. Men, pay attention, especially those living by modern Stoic values. Recognize that true leadership doesn't always look like barking orders or taking the mic. Sometimes, it's the one who sits back, observes, and acts when it matters. That's the person others trust. That's the person others follow. Sigma females live with quiet precision, and that makes them powerful. You must understand this truth: leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. Stoic leadership is restraint with purpose. It's confidence without arrogance. It's influenced without manipulation. And that is exactly the essence of the Sigma female. In a world of noise, she is a signal. In a culture of followers, she walks her path alone, yet others still follow. That is not a coincidence. That is power. That is victory through integrity. You must embrace this mindset yourself. Lead by example. Don't chase the title. Be the standard. Don't talk about values. Live them. Let your actions declare your leadership. Let your silence speak volumes. In business, in family, in brotherhood. Be the anchor. Let Stoic principles guide your choices, your reactions, your path. Stop needing permission to lead. Just lead. As Marcus Aurelius commanded, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the key. Strength isn't volume, it's vision. Real power doesn't push, it pulls. Sigma females remind us of this. Their quiet force is a lesson to all modern men. If you want to be respected, be respectable. If you want to lead, be worth following. Own your path. Control your emotions. Show up with purpose. Don't boast, don't beg, be undeniable. Let this truth settle into your bones. Leadership is not an act. It's a state of being. It's not something you claim, it's something you live. Like the Sigma female, move with intention. Speak less, do more. Stand tall, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. That is the path of mastery. That is the modern Stoic way. That is how you win. Quietly, decisively, completely. 4. Sigma females are stronger than they think. Sigma females. Here's the truth you rarely hear but deeply need to know: you are far stronger than you think. And that strength doesn't come from noise, applause, or validation. It comes from what you endure in silence. It's forged in those long nights when the weight of the world is on your shoulders and no one's coming to rescue you. You've been through more than most, and yet you walk through life without dragging your pain behind you like a burden. That's not just endurance. That's the Stoic resilience, the blessing of Stoicism, and it runs deeper than even you understand. You don't collapse in the chaos. You don't beg for mercy when the pressure mounts. You adapt, you pivot, you absorb the hit and move forward without breaking stride. And while others might need to shout their strength from the rooftops, you let your quiet persistence speak for itself. That's the mark of the modern Stoic: unshaken, unmoved, and utterly composed in a world that thrives on noise and drama. Don't let the calm fool anyone. It certainly shouldn't fool you. That emotional and mental strength you carry, that is earned, not inherited. You didn't stumble into resilience. You built it, brick by brick. With every betrayal you overcame, every heartbreak you stitched back together, and every setback you turned into a lesson. While the world teaches people to scream their frustrations, you've mastered the art of bearing yours in silence and still standing tall. You don't seek out sympathy. You don't look for permission to keep going. You simply do. You get up again and again, even when you don't know how. That's not luck. That's willpower refined into something sacred. You are what the old Stoic philosophers wrote about: grace under fire, wisdom without ego, motion without noise. Here's the thing: you've been so used to surviving, you've forgotten that you're actually thriving. Yes, thriving, because surviving alone isn't strength, but surviving without bitterness, without becoming jaded or hardened, that's a rare kind of power. And you hold it. You don't let past wounds define you, and you don't drag them into every room you enter. You carry yourself with a quiet dignity that most people can't even comprehend. That's why others are often intimidated or confused by you, because you don't need them. You've taught yourself how to stand alone and still be whole. That terrifies people who can't go a day without validation. But for you, solitude isn't punishment. It's peace. It's the space where you reset, recalibrate, and sharpen yourself. That's the power of the modern Stoic in action. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not distant. You're discerning. You've simply learned that not every battle needs to be announced, and not every wound needs to be shown. And yet, despite all this, you still underestimate yourself. That has to stop. Don't dismiss the storms you've weathered as just life. Don't downplay the courage it takes to face pain head-on. Without a support crew, without anyone even knowing you're hurting. That's strength most people never touch in their lifetime. And you do it like it's second nature. You don't ask for credit, but let's be clear, you deserve it. Because behind that composed exterior is a woman who has mastered the art of holding it all together. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You're not just making it through. You're leading yourself with discipline, emotional control, and sheer force of will. That's not ordinary, that's extraordinary. That's the unspoken advantage of living like a stoic, refined, strategic, unstoppable. So hear this and remember it, you are not just strong. You are strength personified. You are the blueprint for how to endure without losing yourself. You are proof that power can be silent, beautiful, and brutally effective. You are the modern stoic woman the world didn't see coming and can't seem to figure out. Stop underestimating your journey. Own it, honor it, be unapologetically proud of it. Because the path you've walked isn't for the weak. It's for warriors who don't need armor because they are the armor. That's who you are. That's what you've always been. And that's exactly why you're far stronger than you've ever given yourself credit for. If this message hit home, share it with a strong woman you respect, and subscribe for more powerful truths on resilience, mindset, and the modern stoic way of life. Sigma females don't need the world's approval, just their own awareness of their power. Comment to remember, my strength is quiet, but it is unmatched. Let's flood the comments with this affirmation, because it's time Sigma females recognize what they're truly made of. 5. Sigma females need human connection more than they admit. Let's make one thing absolutely clear. Sigma females are fierce, independent, and unapologetically self-reliant. They don't ask for permission, and they certainly don't wait for approval. Like a lone wolf, they walk their own path. This trait is rare, and it's powerful. But here's the truth that Sigma females don't always understand about themselves. They need human connection more than they care to admit. That's not a weakness. That's wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest minds of Stoic philosophy, once wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." Even the strongest individuals, those who live by Stoic principles and pride themselves on emotional control, must acknowledge this universal truth. No one thrives in isolation, not even the Sigma female. Being Stoic doesn't mean being a hermit. It means knowing when to stand firm and when to lean on others. Independence is not about isolation. It's about choice, control, and clarity, but not disconnection. Don't make the mistake of thinking that needing someone makes you any less. Don't confuse solitude with superiority. Let's get real. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about rising with more force. And sometimes, the energy to rise comes from those around us. You must remember this: leaning on someone for a moment doesn't make you weak. It sharpens your edge. It fuels your comeback. It resets your focus. That's not a compromise of your power, that's an upgrade. Even Marcus Aurelius, the embodiment of Stoic resolve, recognized the value of communion, of being part of the world, not above it. Stoic principles teach us not to be ruled by emotion, but they don't teach us to be cold. The Stoic doesn't retreat from life, they master it. And life, by its nature, is shared. So here's your call to action. Stop hiding behind your independence like it's a shield. Use it as a sword. but know when to sheath it, know when to reach out, when to talk, when to laugh, when to cry. Don't let pride keep you from growth. Don't let solitude become a prison disguised as power. Let's stop glorifying isolation and start recognizing the incredible power of chosen connection. Having someone in your corner doesn't make you less stoic. It makes you human, and humanity, when embraced through stoic discipline, becomes unstoppable. You must realize that asking for help is not surrender, it's strategy. Seeking support isn't retreat, it's reinforcement. Stoic warriors understand the battlefield. They don't march into every fight alone. They lead, they rally, they rise together. Let's be honest. Modern life is ruthless. It demands your strength, your resolve, your clarity. But it also demands that you stay whole. And wholeness comes from more than grit. It comes from connection. So whether you're a Sigma female or someone walking beside her, understand this: the modern Stoic is not emotionless. They are emotionally intelligent. The modern Stoic does not isolate. They interact with precision and purpose. Embrace that truth. Own it. Live it. Victory doesn't come from walking alone. It comes from walking forward with others when needed, without apology, and with unshakable intention. That is how you master life. That is how you lead with power. That is what Sigma females must understand. True strength is not silence. It is knowing when to speak, who to speak to, and why it matters. Don't forget that. Ever. 6. Sigma females are not as alone as they think. Let's get one thing straight: Sigma females aren't as alone as they think they are. Sure, they move like shadows, graceful, quiet, out of the spotlight. They slip through the chaos of life with a calm detachment that makes people wonder, what's her story? They walk their path solo, heads held high, immune to the noise of trends and social theatrics. That's their nature. And yes, they often find solace in solitude, retreating into their thoughts like a philosopher in the mountain. It's poetic. But here's the twist. They're not wandering in the dark. They're not invisible. In fact, more people are watching, admiring, and quietly cheering them on than they realize. That's right. There's a hidden crowd in the stands. They're not loud. They don't post it. They won't gush. But they're there. These silent admirers, colleagues, strangers, distant friends, see the stoic grace, the grounded strength, the fierce self-possession, and it moves them. They see her not flinching under pressure, standing tall when it's easier to follow, living a stoic life without broadcasting it. And in a world obsessed with noise, that kind of stillness shouts. They're inspired not by what Sigma females say, but by what they are. That is the magic. Don't think no one notices. Don't assume your silence goes unheard. Sometimes the most profound influence comes from quiet consistency. Sigma females walk their truth, even when the road is empty. And here's the beautiful irony. They touch more lives in their solitude than most do with a megaphone. That's a stoic lesson in itself. You don't need the crowd to make an impact. As Marcus Aurelius might have said, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. That's the code Sigma females live by. And people notice. Oh, they notice. Now, men, listen carefully. This isn't just about the Sigma females in your life. This is a lesson in Stoicism for you too. The Stoic life isn't about isolating yourself, it's about anchoring yourself. It's about moving with integrity even when no one is clapping. But here's the key. Don't mistake being alone for being unseen. Don't assume your actions aren't shaping the world around you. They are. Quiet power is still power. And to the Sigma females who feel like they're walking alone, don't. Be still, yes, be self-led, absolutely, but don't fall into the illusion of isolation. There is a whole network, often silent, often invisible, that admires you, respects you, and quietly stands behind you. They might not DM you. They might not say it out loud, but they're watching. They're learning. They're grateful you exist, and you must understand that solitude and loneliness are not the same. Solitude is chosen. Loneliness is suffering. A Stoic life teaches us the difference. It teaches us that your path may be narrow, but it's never truly empty. There's always someone observing, someone inspired. So don't second-guess your impact. Don't downplay your presence. Be exactly who you are, with all your edges, your silences, your strength. That is the lesson. That is the victory. So be proud, be steady, be aware of the quiet waves you make. Walk with the knowledge that even in your silence, you're speaking volumes. That's Stoicism in motion. That's power without noise. That's influence without intention. And that, gentlemen, is what Sigma females often don't understand about themselves, but must. If you're a man who respects quiet strength and understands the power of solitude, then you already know true influence doesn't need a spotlight. It moves in silence. Sigma females may feel alone, but they're not. Their strength echoes louder than they think. If this speaks to you, drop a comment right now, even in silence. I am seen. Like this video. Subscribe for more Stoic lessons and timeless wisdom. And remember, solitude isn't weakness, it's a strategy. 7. Sigma females tend to dismiss their own value. Don't let the silence fool you. Sigma females, in all their understated glory, are often the quiet architects of resilience and clarity in a noisy world. But here's the twist. While they walk tall in calm self-assurance, there's a blind spot they rarely confront. They quietly underestimate their own worth. Yes, they can dismantle chaos with a glance, carry solitude like a crown, and function just fine without applause. But somewhere in the privacy of their minds, doubt slithers in. They look around and think others glide while they grind, that everyone else got the manual for life, and they were left holding blank pages. They start to believe the lie that if something isn't loud, trending, or hashtagged, it must not matter. That if success isn't flashing on a screen or echoing in applause, it must not count. But that's not just wrong, it's dangerous. The modern Stoic understands this kind of misplaced self-judgment. The old Stoic lived through it. You must realize the value of a Sigma female isn't found in fanfare. It's written in the way she shows up day after day, solid, unshaken, quietly powerful. The blessing of Stoicism is knowing that true strength doesn't need validation. It doesn't tweet. It doesn't boast. It is. Sigma females operate on a wavelength that isn't about external permission. Their success is quieter, more internal, measured not in applause but in endurance, grace under pressure, the art of knowing who they are when no one is watching. Be clear, the problem isn't that they lack value. It's that they've been fed a toxic definition of what value looks like. In a world obsessed with noise, they've been told their silence is absence. It's not. It's depth. Their hesitation to shout their worth from rooftops is not weakness, it's intentional. But don't let that turn into self-erasure. That's the danger. Because when Sigma females don't recognize their own force, they begin to shrink themselves to fit standards made for someone else's story. Don't do that. Don't dim what doesn't need softening. What Sigma females don't always understand about themselves is that their very detachment from the spotlight is their power. Their solitude, that's sanctuary, not exile. Their minimal need for approval, that's wisdom in disguise. You must grasp this. They are not behind. They are not lacking. They are simply playing a different game, with different rules, and mastering it in silence. The modern Stoic doesn't need cheers to move forward. The old Stoic didn't wait for applause to act with virtue. And the Sigma female, in her own right, walks that same path, unseen perhaps, but never lesser. So here's the truth. The things Sigma females tend to dismiss: their ability to be calm in the storm, their relentless self-reliance, their refusal to conform. Those are not soft traits. Those are sharp edges of a warrior spirit. Don't confuse stillness with absence of power. Don't measure progress by other people's timelines. Be bold enough to redefine success on your own terms. The blessing of Stoicism is knowing when to ignore the crowd. The modern Stoic honors the path that is quieter, harder, and often lonelier, because it is real. Sigma females don't need to become louder. They need to stop doubting the force they already are. Their value doesn't need discovery. It needs acknowledgement. So look in the mirror, not for answers, but for reminders. You're already built for the road you're walking. 8. Sigma females are more intuitive than they give themselves credit for. Sigma females don't understand just how powerful their intuition truly is. They underestimate it. They second-guess it. But this instinct, the silent whisper in the back of their mind, is not mere emotion or fantasy. It's ancient, it's sharp, it's real, like a warrior standing on the edge of battle. A Sigma female feels the shift in energy before the first arrow flies. She senses the truth behind people's words. She sees the cracks in the surface before they break. And yet, she hesitates. She waits for confirmation, for someone else to validate what she already knows deep inside. That is the mistake. That is the failure. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The Stoic way is to listen, not to noise or chaos, but to inner reason. And for Sigma females, intuition is that inner reason. It is Stoic wisdom wrapped in feminine instinct. Let's be clear. This isn't some mystical gift. It's a skill forged through solitude, hardship, and sharp observation. Sigma females walk alone not because they have to, but because that path gives them power. And that power breeds insight. They know how to read the room before the first word is spoken. They sense when something is off, even when everything looks perfect. That's not luck. That's not guessing. That's decades of living by Stoic principles: resilience, self-reliance, and control over emotions. The modern world tells them to doubt it, to trust data over instinct. But the truth is, in a world full of noise, that quiet voice is often the only thing that's real. Stoicism teaches us to accept what is, to see clearly, and act without being ruled by emotion. That is exactly what Sigma females do when they trust themselves. Don't doubt that voice. Don't wait for permission. Don't ask others to approve what your gut already knows. As a modern Stoic, you must act with certainty. You must trust the compass within you. Every time a Sigma female ignores her intuition, she loses ground. Every time she listens, she sharpens her edge. Confidence is not given. It is earned through repeated acts of self-trust. When you live by Stoic principles, you stop outsourcing your judgment. You stop needing guarantees. You move with clarity. You act with decisiveness, like Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while facing chaos. A Sigma female must rule her own world by first mastering her mind. This is the path. You don't need external proof. You don't need applause. You need discipline. You need courage. You need to trust the wisdom your life has already carved into you. That's stoicism. That's strength. That's victory. Intuition is not your weakness. It's your sword. Wield it. Let it guide your decisions, shape your standards, and defend your peace. Let it help you master life with grace and power. The moment a Sigma female stops doubting and starts deciding, she steps into her highest self. She becomes unstoppable. She becomes sovereign. She becomes a modern stoic. Thanks for watching, and take care out there. Look, if you're a Sigma female, or even just someone who walks their own path, here's what I want you to remember. Your quiet strength is your superpower. You don't need to fit into someone else's version of success. You already have everything it takes to make an impact, on your terms. So here's my honest advice. Stop second-guessing yourself. Don't wait for the world to give you permission to be who you already are. You don't need to compete, or compare, or conform. Just trust your gut, own your uniqueness, and keep moving forward with quiet confidence. Because when you do that, you don't just stand out, you lead, without even trying. Stay true, stay grounded, and as always, stay you. See you in the next one.